So if you are watching this video, then you are planning to get married in Hawaii. In this video, specifically Oahu. So this video is specifically for you. So we're gonna go over the whole process of how the wedding went, all the details with it, and a few tips here at the end for you to have hopefully as successful
and beautiful of a wedding as we did.
Exactly. Okay, so we were in Hawaii for, was it 8 days, 7 nights?
Yeah.
8 days and 7 nights, which was a perfect amount of time. We got married in the middle of that time, so we flew in on a Wednesday. Mm-hmm. And we got married Sunday.
It's only been a month.
I know the date. So we got married on a Sunday, and then we left on, was it Thursday?
Yes, we left on a Thursday.
Thursday. So we went with a company called Just Married Hawaii.
It's very easy to find. You simply type it into Google. You put in your preferences into a Google sheet, and they reach out to you pretty quickly thereafter to make sure that everything you checked is what you want and to get your date and everything locked in. And
they were great. A few things with the whole thing. So they were very chilled and laid back about everything. And so obviously as our wedding day was coming, we didn't really know all the exact details. And so they were like, we knew the area we were getting married in. We got married in the North Shore. But we didn't know the exact spot.
And so we were asking for like an address, like a street address, and they just said a road name. And we were like,
I'm like, there's nothing there.
Yeah, and then like we try to pull it up on like Google Maps, and there's like nothing, and they're like, no, there's a dirt parking lot. And we're like, if I tell like the few people that went with us that, oh, just go down this road and drive till you find a parking lot, like all of the type A people in my life and us were just like wigging out. We were like, no, we need like a physical street address, but it was all good. So,
there was actually a dirt parking lot there. And
yes.
So we got married, like I said, we got married in North Shore. It was right below Haleiwa, if I'm saying it correctly. It's literally probably a mile down or 2 miles down from the small town of Haleiwa there on Oahu. And it was beautiful.
Oh yes, gosh, it had everything you want in your Hawaiian wedding. It had the beach, and it had the rocks on the beach, and it had the mountains in the background. And unfortunately, we didn't see any turtles at that time. But when we went back the next day, there were turtles. And so it is like Hawaii, like in all of your wedding pictures, because it's just little touches of it all. Like it's amazing.
It was like she said, it was great. And we got married at sunset time too. So, and you have options. So we paid just a little bit more for the sunset wedding, which we would highly
recommend. I think it was a little bit more to do it on the weekend too. So you could save a couple bucks if you were willing to do it on like a Tuesday. But yeah, the sunset wedding is just, our pictures were just so much better than anything I had anticipated them to be. So it was great.
Now the package we went with this company, we paid, what was it, about $500-600?
It was right at $600, and that was for the few upcharges that we had. That was the location on the weekend and for the sunset wedding. And then we also paid to have a photographer there so that we could select 50 pictures.
And that was honestly our whole reason for getting married there and everything, because we really weren't going to do hardly anything at all. And then we just started thinking about it, because it'd be nice to have some really nice pictures. Then we started looking at the pictures of people that have gotten married there, and it was a no-brainer.
Yeah,
we had already planned.
Yeah, our courthouse wedding. So we had planned a Hawaii trip just to go, and so it all like.
And we had planned this Hawaii trip right when COVID had first hit, because we was kind of be like,
It's kind of our celebration of hoping that COVID would be over and, that life would be kind of back to normal. And then
it all evolved into
a wedding.
Now, funny story too, it was the day before the wedding, and I asked Emily, I'm like, what is our preacher going to be wearing? you know, because it's not, you know, it's obviously not a traditional wedding. We're in Hawaii, so it's like, you know, and we had no idea, you know, we hadn't met the preacher yet. We didn't meet him till literally like 30 minutes before our ceremony. So we were like, what, you know, what is he gonna wear? And
we had some pretty wild ideas, like showing up with like board shorts and a surfboard.
Like he was great. He was super professional. He was really funny too.
Yes, he was.
So and you obviously we're showing you all these pictures as we're doing this, so you can see for yourself. But yeah, so we were just like before, like, you know, what is this guy
What's it gonna be like?
would be wearing? Yeah. So that pretty much covers, you know, the whole wedding service and, you know, everything I had. The ceremony itself lasted for about 30-45 minutes. Roughly, and that was mostly the actual ceremony part is maybe 15-20, and then the last, you know, 20-25 of it was with the pictures and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So now we're gonna kind of go over just a few tips. So if you are flying to Oahu in Hawaii for a wedding, just a few things that maybe take into consideration
before you plan your trip.
All right, tip number one, and I think maybe the biggest tip is stay away from Honolulu.
It's so crowded. And it's so, if I was like 22, I would have probably had the time of my life.
Not even for that stuff, is for when you're picking like your hotel and resort.
Yes.
Is you know, so we have the few people that did come to our wedding, they were in the Honolulu, like downtown Waikiki, Honolulu area. Mm-hmm. And it is like, if you've been to Times Square in like New York City, it is just like that.
Might even be worse.
Might even be worse. And so our first night there, we stayed in a hotel right there just because we had flown in late, or it was just a long flight. And then we were off of Honolulu. The rest, we were like at the Marriott Vacation Club. It was like 30, what was it, Kolina?
Kolina.
Yeah, Kolina, in Kolina. And it was fantastic. It was quiet. It was peaceful.
Yes.
It was beautiful. So
they had lots of little shops and things, so you could still do some shopping.
Yes.
They had great little restaurants, all within walking distance of the hotels that were there. Like, it was the best experience.
And the traffic in Honolulu is god awful. So just, and that might be your scene. So if it is your scene,
then by
book
all
it.
means. But if you're going for your honeymoon and you're hoping for it to be slightly more, if you're doing your wedding and your honeymoon both in Hawaii and you are looking for something slightly more intimate and something slightly more low key for just you and your spouse to really enjoy it, we just don't really recommend the Waikiki, Honolulu area.
Yeah. All right, tip number two, when it comes to transportation. So we ended up renting a rental car, and for the 7 to 8, whatever.
7 nights, 8 days.
There we go. It ran us about $450 or so for a rental car, and it was great.
Yes.
Because we were, I felt like we saw most of the island during our time there, and I don't feel like we would have if we were trying to get Ubers and things like that. One of our Emily's best friends and her boyfriend flew in, and they were looking at getting an Uber from the airport to downtown Honolulu, and it was going to cost like $150.
Which is, I mean, like a fourth of what we paid for our entire car for the whole time.
Yeah, so I would highly suggest, and make sure you get way ahead of time too.
Way in advance.
Because I feel like we got a pretty good price on a rental car.
Yes,
but
we did. Yeah, and don't try to rely on public transportation. We didn't see a whole lot of their public transit buses and things like that.
Yeah.
And we were actively starting to look near the end of the trip. They have them. We just didn't see a lot of them.
And there's so much to see on Oahu, like outside of the Honolulu area. There's so many awesome beaches. They're free. They're like public access beaches, and there's just so many other things there to see. So I would just highly suggest
having your own mode of transportation.
Yes. So tip number 3 is, so like I said, we were there for over a week, and we got married in the middle of that week. And I would suggest that kind of that time frame, because jet lag is
going to stomp your bottom.
Oh my gosh, that first day was the flight was 10 hours straight from where we were coming from North Carolina, and the time difference was a 5-6 hour. It messes it. I don't know if we ever adjusted the whole time we were there.
I was just starting to sleep till 6 on our last day there.
Yeah, so having our wedding in the middle of it was nice, because it wasn't like the very next day we're getting married and our time clocks are all messed up.
And it gave all of our guests and things a minute as well to kind of adjust to the time, so nobody was cranky or
Exactly.
tired or anything like that. So it was definitely a good plan.
So if you're going there for your wedding, give yourself a few days before your wedding, and then however long you want after. So tip number 4 is just some fun like attractions to do while you're there, or things to do while you're there. Blew out.
So we did the Sea Life Park Blew Out, and it was actually our reception.
It was
so
fun.
That's something to think about too if you're not going to do like a formal reception. A luau is a great way, and the Sea Life Aquarium one was awesome. It was funny, it was entertaining, and the flame dancers.
The flame dances were awesome.
They were worth every penny.
And the location is beautiful.
Stunning. The
beautiful
views from there are just amazing.
Yeah,
like,
so
absolutely gorgeous.
So there's that. There's like I said, there's public access beaches all over the place. I mean, you literally can just start driving along the coastline there, and you're gonna see.
And just find a place to park and go.
Like one of them we found, we did a video on it, and I'll put it up. It's part of one of our videos up there. It's called Sharks Cove, and you can do snorkeling there. The snorkeling there is fantastic.
Yes.
Make sure you have some water shoes and a good snorkel mask. So there's that.
Just doing Diamond Head, like hiking Diamond Head, is an awesome experience.
That was great.
Yeah, like it's a lot of steps, but the views once you're at the top are fantastic. We didn't get to do it, but they have the Jurassic Park and other movie tour things.
Oh, yeah.
That are there that looked really cool.
And that was booked out a month. Like we just drove up there. We knew about it, but we really didn't plan for it. And so we just drove up there to see, and they were booked a month out. So if you want to do it,
and they only had one ticket on like the day, like a whole month out.
Yeah.
And they were like, well, we can book one of you. We're like, what? But so there's just lots of cool things to do. There's the waterfall if that's your thing.
And the Aloha swap meet is really cool too.
Yes.
So we found a bunch of really cool things.
A bunch of nice little souvenirs. And
and I'll put the link to that video up there too if you want to check it out. So ton of fun things. If you just do a couple of those things, you'll have a really awesome time. So our thumbnail that you obviously have seen. So we saw. I sent you an article about some couples doing that. A couple of weeks before our wedding, we're like, oh, that's awesome. Let's try and do it. So our photographers were up to doing it, and because we not only did we have the photographer from the company, but we had a fellow a YouTube friend who came and took some. Oh, our dog is joining our video now.
She would like to be featured in our wedding video today.
Miss Stacy Travels came and helped us with the picture. So, anyways, we just took a few running pictures, or looking like we were running in slow motion, and then we just cropped in, the dinosaur from Jurassic Park. I did one with the TIE fighter from Star Wars. So just might as well have fun while you're doing your stuff. So yeah, so that's how that kind of all came about. Really easy. If anyone has any questions about it, just put it down in the comments below, and we'll be happy to. Yeah, it's a lot easier than what it looks like it may be to put together. So one last thing before we wrap this up. One of the cool things with doing all these videos is the friendships we kind of have made with people all over the United States and in other countries and stuff. And so one of the special friendships we have made is with she goes by Stacy Travels on YouTube.
Sure that's her whole name.
Miss Travels. And but we've got this great friendship with her, and she lived a little bit close. She's on the West Coast, we're on the East Coast, so Hawaii wasn't that far for her and her family, and she decided to come out and meet us out there in Hawaii. And it's just awesome to meet,
to make that in-person actual.
Oh my God, yeah, and Stacy is fantastic, and I'm so glad to have met her in person and to have formed this relationship all because of.
And some of our photos
YouTube.
Are her credit, so she is also a fantastic wedding photographer on top of a travel video YouTuber.
Yes, so Stacy, thank you very much. So that really kind of wraps up our little wedding video here. And so if you have any questions about getting married in Oahu, in Hawaii there, just leave them in the comments below. We'll gladly answer or help anyone who has questions about it. Like I said, it all went really well.
We were very pleased with every aspect
Yes.
of our trip, of our wedding, of all of it.
Yeah, the whole trip went so well, and the whole experience went so great. So, like I said, if you have any questions, just leave them down in the comments below, and we'll gladly help out as many people as we can. And until next time, y'all.
Bye, y'all.
See ya.